And then a big thanks to Chef Mark Trimble for the fantastic dinner. Don't you quit on me. To the multi-talented Colleen, Stephanie, and Wiley for their help with dinner as well. It really did take a village to get me here tonight, and Omaha Steaks has a full-blown metropolis, so with its own supply of gourmet food. So that is quite the perk. Speaking of Omaha Steaks food and their general awesomeness, for those of you who have not heard, they have generously offered to absorb the costs of our dinner tonight. So all of the monthly dues will go right back to our chapter. So, and you are like 10 minutes into office and you already have one successful fundraiser like under the belt. Look at you. Rolling in the cash already or blown away. Anywho, I cannot thank all of you enough. So, anyone who knows me knows that I love murder shows. Dateline, Forensic Files, The First 48, and for those of us old enough to remember, Primetime Live. And that was ABC's answer to Dateline like 20 years ago. Diane Sawyer, it was awesome. In fact, one of the proudest moments of my life was when my dad was interviewed on Primetime Live back in 2000, when a man that he prosecuted for fraud in the 1980s later became a serial killer.
Wow.
Yeah, he totally called it too. He knew he was a psycho. Don't you quit on me. Should I go what it sounds like?
Can you guys hear her without the microphone?
Yeah. Use your mom voice.
I will use my mom voice.
Use your teacher voice.
Okay. So yeah, man he prosecuted for fraud in the 1980s later became a serial killer. They even had my dad walk slowly in front of the courthouse, looking off into the distance, while a creepy voiceover described his role in the case. It was heaven. Even as far back as childhood, I was glued to the screen when Unsolved Mysteries came on TV, even though the theme song alone would give me nightmares. I was a true crime fan long before it was cool, assuming it's even cool now, or at least marginally less nerdy than it used to be. But I recently heard a psychologist on a podcast say that if you enjoy watching said murder shows as a way to unwind or relax like I do, it could be a red flag about your mental health. Since it's not exactly normal to find comfort in other people's trauma. I am fairly certain that I am not a sociopath. I don't think so. And I would argue that it's not really the trauma that I find comforting or relaxing. I don't really want to see the murder, since I am in fact quite squeamish. But what I do find so gratifying is seeing how the detectives put the case together. Finding pieces of evidence that most people would think are so small or random they could never mean anything. And they fit them together to make an airtight case and catch the bad guy. Spoiler alert, it's usually the spouse for life insurance money. Every time. This little glimpse into my apparently flawed psyche ties nicely into our theme tonight of puzzles, which perhaps unsurprisingly has become my former prosecutor dad's favorite thing to do to unwind. Since he is long retired from putting away the bad guys, he now has a nightly ritual of pouring himself a big cold glass of milk, not even kidding, whole milk by the pint every night. Goes to his man cave, the basement, and gets to work on yet another 1,000-piece puzzle. The pieces are tiny, and some are so generic looking that it seems impossible to ever figure out where they go. But with time, and after many pints of milk, the picture starts to take shape. I would never have the patience for any puzzle with more than 12 pieces, like that one. So I stick with the murder shows and wine. But he claims it's easier if you start with the frame pieces, the ones with a flat edge. I would like to think of that as our board. We provide the guidance, a stable framework for our chapter's mission, and a safe place for others to connect. That's all well and good, but it's still not the whole picture. As Kristen mentioned, every member is an essential piece of our puzzle. Without you, the big, beautiful picture is incomplete. Like the $1 puzzles my dad likes to buy at the thrift store, a few pieces are always missing. And after hours of hard work, seeing the gaps just makes you crabby. Just pay retail, Dad, just get the whole puzzle. You might think you don't have much to offer, and that your absence won't be noticed, but that is not true. Each of you has something to offer. So think about, where will you fit? Will you join a committee, like fundraising, to help raise much needed funds for our chapter and scholarship recipients? Or maybe programs, if you have great ideas for future meetings to keep them relevant and appealing to new members. Or if you are social media savvy, just talking up EWI online can make a big difference. Any, or even better, all of these pieces will make our chapter picture bigger and more vibrant than ever. Some pieces might seem like they could fit anywhere and move around with ease. And some pieces might sit to the side for a while since they don't seem to belong anywhere. You might even begin to wonder if they belong to a different puzzle altogether. But rest assured, there's a place for you right here. If you need any help finding where you fit, feel free to ask. We have a lot of puzzle experts here. So pour a glass of milk and let's get to work. Or maybe wine. No judgment. I would like to close with a poem by Erin Hansen. Our lives are one big puzzle. We don't know how many pieces we've got. There are people that fit in quite nicely, and people who try but do not. We're constantly adding more pieces, all the memories of things we've been through. We add laughter and tears and adventure and the lessons we've learned to be true. Everyone has their own puzzle. There will be ones where you do not fit. Don't you ever dare make your piece smaller just so you can live there for a bit. If you keep cutting off all your edges, one day you won't recognize what you see, and you'll forget the person you once were before the world told you who you should be. Make the most of each piece in your puzzle. It'll be a grand masterpiece when it's done, so you won't have to look back when it's over and realize you've left out the sun. So before I go, I want to thank Jordan for her excellent leadership over the last year with part 2 of our token of gratitude. And thanks for helping me with the business meeting, even though you didn't have to. Oh, well, thank you. Push your hand over. Thank you all for helping me create what will surely be a grand masterpiece of the coming year. I'm very excited to work with our newly installed board. Please don't forget to take your essential piece home with you when you leave. Please tip your waitstaff and enjoy the rest of your evening. We are adjourned.